What are some of the recent advancement or trends in generative AI that the student in your course or will have an opportunity to explore and learn about?
So like I said, we're partnering with IBM, right? So one of the major fields that is going to have ton of jobs in how to manage AI. Okay, so it's not only about understanding what model, right?
Right.
So think of like all the corporations. There are going to be thousands of jobs on management of the AI tools within the company, right? There are ethical considerations. What can go into AI, what can't go into AI, right? There are timing concentrations. There are data considerations, right? Which kind of data can be used, right? There is consideration on bias, right? So how do companies understand any biases that are in the models and how to use them appropriately, right? So the field of governance of AI technology is already blowing up, and then you'll see in the next 2 years, 5 years, you'll have equal or even more amount of jobs in the management of the AI function, right? In how to like govern different AI tools. So that's something students should already be aware of, and we have a course specifically on governance of AI, and in that course we are using IBM Watson's governance modules, right? So one is the modules to create the models and apply the models, and there's a whole set of learning on how to govern these models, what are the considerations, right? And we are way ahead of the market, you know. So when students graduate, they'll be able to talk to employers on not only I know how to use Gen AI, I know how to govern Gen AI from a systemic perspective at an enterprise level.
Yeah, that's what the company wants.
Yeah, that's what the company wants.
What advice would you give it to an Indian student aspiring to study abroad, especially in AI course with a focus on generative AI in IT field?
Yeah, so you know the first like couple of things, right? One, like I'd encourage students to understand the scale of AI, right? It's enormous, right? So it currently touches every single aspect, right? So there's obviously, you know, ChatGPT is very popular, right? And text tools are very popular, but there is video, there is a sound, right? There is like creative fields, right? There's art, right? So and there's obviously like understanding how to apply it through enormous amount of data, right? So the first piece I encourage students to understand the scale. It's huge, right? Sometimes people just kind of focus on one thing and they're like, oh, this is what AI does. Yes, that's true, but it also does many other things, right? And then the second piece I'd encourage students is to start understanding the application of tools, right? It's not just enough I'm able to use AI. I need to have critical thinking, when to use it, where to use it, what tool to apply. And then lastly, I was saying like start thinking about the governance of AI. There's going to be huge demand there.
What support and resource are available to the student who are interested in pursuing this course?
So Clark University has tremendous amount of support, right? So I'll talk about the specific course, but let me just give you the overall context, right? So when a student comes to Clark, they get paired with an academic advisor one-on-one. That advisor, even before they start, even before they get to America, as soon as they're admitted, right? Advisor will guide on what courses to take, what sequence of courses to take. It's a huge differentiator. You are not just trying to figure out everything by yourself, right? So the second piece that we do very well is we have career counselors that are available on day one when they start, not when they're graduating. In orientation, we have career counselors come and talk about all the different support that is there for the students, right? So master's is not too long. It's like, 1.5, 2 years, and that goes by this.
Yes.
Right? So we don't want students like, okay, now you're ready, now come talk on the career counselors, right? We started on day one, right? And then on the specific courses, the faculty that we have in School of Professional Studies and specifically in like AI have more than like 10-15 years of experience, right, in technology, in innovation, right, and these are experts who are currently working in the field, right? So students will be able to ask, hey, you're working in the banking sector, tell me how this is being applied at your job today, not 5 years ago, not 10 years ago. Huge differentiation, right? Because students have access to potential employers right in their classroom, right? And then like the tools that we are using, they're the latest, right? And the tools provide so much learning in themselves, right? So there's support within the tools also. So we try to cover like the entire spectrum.
So what are the scholarships are available for Indian students at Clark University?
So every student who qualifies gets a scholarship, right? And compared to other schools, we are very aggressive on scholarships, right? Average is 15 to 25%, which is a lot, right? On scholarships that are available, and the process is very easy, right? We don't have students go through multiple hoops, right? So we know like students coming, you know, finance is a huge consideration, right? I was a student myself.
Yeah.
many moons ago, right? So we try to be as flexible and as fast as possible.
So what type of diverse job opportunities are available for graduates of your generative AI course?
So the field right now is blowing up, right? So depending on the interest of the student, right, they can first like figure out the sector they want to go. Generative AI is being applied across all sectors, right? And Clark is in Massachusetts, which that general area between New York and Boston is the job opportunity is huge, right? So they can go into, you know, banking is big there, financial services is big there, IT sector obviously is big there, but you have IT in all these other sectors, right? Healthcare is big there. That's why we have the healthcare, the tech in healthcare concentration, right? So depending on the student's interest, what they've done in India, what they want to do in America, right? They can pretty much pick which sector they want to go to, right? And then within generative AI, they can also pick, do they want to go in the governance side, do they want to get on the building side, or do they want to go in the application side?
Generally, the student who wants to plan to do a master degree, their main focus is I want to get into a job opportunity, rather I concentrate more on studies. That is a normal mentality on that part.
Right.
So how do the university motivated and make them stay focused? Hey, this is the what you need to do it. You whatever you want to plan it after the masters.
So, you know, very good question, and that's very normal, right? Because students are making a huge financial investment, right? So they are looking to get into a job as soon as possible, right? What we encourage like students is to pair them up with the career counselors right away, and they actually guide the students that you will have most success in getting a job if you do the curriculum with your best effort, right? So those two are connected, and like students then generally start to understand that these two elements are actually connected, and they organically, you know, go through the process, right? And then we have students that we require them to go get internships, right? Like you were mentioning a little while ago, right? So that's a huge part, right? And then you get into an internship, then like you get OPT, right? It's a STEM related program, you get 3 years of OPT, right? And then you have time to get
Just do you believe, see a lot of our students who we do a counseling, they always work on the ranking of the university. Okay, so I don't believe in ranking, but still as a student point of view, even I want to get aware of it. Does the ranking matters in choosing the best university?
So, you know, that's so I went from here, and I will tell you this, for some reason we as a culture put way more weightage on ranking than it actually is worth. Okay, ranking is definitely an indicator, right? But you can apply the same analogy to the student's application. How much is SOP or a GPA indicator of a person? You tell me. 10%, 20%?
Right.
Right? A person has so many capabilities, critical thinking, innovation,
That
right? That gives a sliver, right? And yet, a lot of families, a lot of students get fixated on ranking and make their entire decision on ranking, right? So, location of the school is very important, right?
Okay.
The market that they are in is extremely important. The type of faculty they're going to engage is very important. The support that they have in the school is very important. It's much bigger than one specific thing, right? So, the best way to counsel folks is to say, universities don't look at one aspect of the application, and so you shouldn't also do the same thing for the universities.
But how the student have to choose a particular university? They have to choose the high budget university or a low budget university. What is the thing that they have to look at when they are choosing the right university?
Very good question. So they have to find what the best fit for them is. What do I mean by that? Some students like huge universities, 20,000, 30,000, class sizes of 100. Some students like individual attention. So Clark, we don't have big classes. You will never get a class that's more than 25, 30 students, right? We have a lot of classes that are 10, 15. So you have access to professors, individual attention. It's a very close-knit community. Some students like that. Some students want to go to huge 30, 40,000, which is fine also, right? Some students want to work with professors who are in the field, right? So we have that, right? The next is location. So where the university is. Some students want to live in a city. Some students want to live some schools in the US are out in the country. Clark is right in Booster, right? Lot of activity, right? So basically, it's more than budget or ranking. It's a full package of where do we think the student will be most successful. How much international students are there, right? If they are playing cricket, or not. Some students prefer that. Some students are like, no, I want to go to a place where there's not a lot of international students, which is fine also, right? So
right.